What's good? I'd like to welcome everybody to another packed edition of the Producer's Corner. It's your boy D Dot along with Corey and Rich. What's good, fellas?
What's going on?
Oh man, it's just been a pretty good weekend, man. I had the iStandard Beatcamp out here in Dallas. I'm gonna talk about here as well. But man, that's I feel like actually the past maybe month to especially the past 2 weeks has just been kind of busy for me. So I did a showcase last weekend, and then this weekend was beat camp. So man, just really been trying to stay busy and enjoying everything, man. What's been good with you?
Shoot, man. Same thing. Just been busy. I wanted to go to beat camp so bad this year, but schedule wouldn't allow it on my end. But I was lucky enough to go to it last year. Had fun. Looked like everybody had fun on over the weekend. I saw some of your pictures, and I saw some other pictures online as well. But for the most part, though, over the weekend, man, I just finished up a first video for JCS Productions, working with, a couple of artists on their projects and stuff like that, doing some photography work. That's what I've really been doing, and some video work as well. So I've just been busy, expanding, the brand. Yes, sir.
Word, man. I see you out there too, man. I can't wait to check it out. So you shooting and directing the video, or you just shooting it?
It's kind of like it's really for the instrumental. It's an instrumental video.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, but on this video right here, it's just basically, I just went with a theme versus just shooting some random shots and stuff like that. But, I was kind of really kind of just trying to test out the camera that I have. And so far, so good. I'm very, very happy with the results that I got so far with it. So hopefully I'm just looking forward to that in the part.
Right. And I see you've been doing your thing in the gym as well. All right, Rich, I got it.
Yeah.
Maybe me step it up myself,
Yeah, man, I've been working with a trainer. I got real lazy all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, man, I need to get back in the gym and get physical and stuff like that, and just boost up. I feel better, in the morning time, just by going to the gym. So, just staying healthy, that's about it. Trying to stay healthy.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Good luck to you on that, man. I'm with you. Corey, what's good, man? We're about to go to our first commercial break of the night. We'll be back with the Producer's Corner. And we are back. Corey, what's good, man?
Nothing much, man. Apologize for the technical difficulties there, man. But as far as what I've been up to, man, same old, man. Clientele's coming in smooth, and things are going real good, man. Things are going real good. I'm working with the same clients, Ryan Bronson, who, shout out to Cato for introducing me to this guy. He's got a lot of potential. He's working hard, and I like to see that in the artist. And been working with the homie Bless, who's doing like an experimental, psychedelic type of sound. It's not even really rap, but he's experimenting with a new sound, and I think it takes a lot of courage. So shout out to him for that, man, because that stuff is not easy at all. But everything is good, man. Everything is good. Still, working out, staying healthy, eating right. Eating healthy is expensive. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but eating healthy, man. And they say, the one thing they do say is, I haven't been to the doctor for an ailment in a very, very long time. So eating healthy, drinking your water, it really does work. But, man, you don't really get to pass on them bills because they come in through the form of food, man. So just eating healthy, man. Eating healthy, staying healthy.
Man, I'm on that same track with you, man. The eating healthy, man, it's a never-ending process, man. And there's always no matter what, there's always something that you might just be missing. You don't get everything. You know, when you go to a grocery store, you get home, you think about something else you forgot. Never-ending process. You're gonna talk a little bit tonight about streaming and actually iTunes and a couple of other online digital music stores going away from the actual download model to just a strictly streaming model. Yeah, man, that's definitely gonna be interesting to hear about it. Or did you want to start to go in on it?
I mean, we can, man. It was a revelation I had at work, and I had read an article, not even an article. I got an email from Bandcamp. Those of you who have a Bandcamp account probably got the same email, and it was just in regards to the streaming rights and where they stand on things. And I thought that was a very interesting standpoint that they took, basically saying that they are going to stick with the model that they've always had, and they're not going to go towards the streaming model because what they're doing has been very profitable for years. And so basically, without saying it, they're basically saying, like, those of you, I think the quote was, borrowing music, basically kind of just dogging the streamers pretty much and saying we are for the consumer who wants to own music and not borrow it. And so that kind of got me thinking in terms of a lot of things, one of which being they mentioned Apple, making the statement that they were moving away from downloadable content and going strictly streaming, which if they want to become a streaming service, I see that as totally up to them. I don't feel a kind of way about it. There's still always going to be a way to own music. I don't think it'll ever be fully outlawed, or not even outlawed, but obsolete, rather. But it was just an interesting thing, and it got me thinking about a couple different things in terms of the elimination of downloadable content. I mean, we saw cassette tapes, vinyls, anything you can possibly think of, all different types of mediums come and go. And no one was really frightened by that. No one was really scared when tapes went to CD. And no one was really scared when CD went to the digital platform. It was the natural progression. Now, what you did have is those who didn't want to change. There's people who will always fight change. And I feel that times are now changing, whether we want it to change or not. I would love to see more downloads. I would love to see more albums moving, but with technology the way it is, with everything on my phone, I now have movies in my pocket. I now have podcasts in my pocket. I now have the radio station on my pocket. Some of you are even tuning into this via the TuneIn app right now. And so that being said, it's only natural that music progress in that same direction. And to fight that, I think would be silly. I think what companies should be looking for is a way to make a profit on that. And I think what artists should continue to do is fight for their rights within the streaming world. If we completely eliminate downloads, that means that streaming is going to be the main source to be able to gauge sales pretty much. And so, whereas one person might have sold 10,000 copies of a digital download or a hard CD, they may now equate that to 200,000 streams, but we have to let the time settle and to kind of figure themselves out, I feel like. And so I thought what Bandcamp did was cool, but I don't think they seemed a little rattled in the way that they came across in their letter to the masses. So there's a couple things that I wanted to talk about. One specifically really was piracy. And my thoughts, I'm not even going to give my thoughts. If we get rid of digital downloads, I'll start with Big Rich. Big Rich, how do you feel that's going to affect streaming? And how will they affect each other? How does streaming affect piracy and piracy affect streaming?
Whew. Oh, that's a two-way question right there. Let me attack it from a different angle. If you get rid of digital downloads, you won't provide a platform for independent artists or indie artists. And how it's gonna affect piracy, then I think that's gonna hurt mainstream artists, should I say? You know what I'm saying? The artists that's actually known, because then you're taking away a platform from them. Now, you may be talking about, well, what you mean by that? Well, even though some of their music is getting leaked, that's still helping them out. Because when that music gets leaked, that might have, you know what I'm saying, out of 10 people, you know what I'm saying, maybe 4 or 5 of those people are going to actually go and buy it. Because a lot of people just get this music just to check it out. There's a lot of DJs out here that's really not known DJs, but there's a lot of people that actually DJ and they download this free music, and so they can put it out to the public. When that public hear that at an event, birthday party, game, wherever they may be, like, man, who is that? They'll go Shazam it. Oh, okay. I might go home and buy it. So it's a twofold situation. You know what I'm saying? It's going to hurt the indie artists and it's going to hurt the mainstream artists. And the mainstream artists, you really can't get mad at it now, because that's just what it is. It's too late. It's really too late. But it's going to hurt them because that's another platform, as far as piracy is concerned, to get their stuff out, even though it's taken away from their sales. Well, guess what? You know what I'm saying? It helps them out. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have blown up off of piracy. And then, too, you know what I'm saying, with, you know, like I said, with streaming, you know, right now for independent artists, it's hard to get your stuff on a good platform. So you trust the likes of TuneCore and Bandcamp and all these other services like that, you know what I'm saying, as far as digital streaming and stuff like that, because you just can't walk up in Walmart, Best Buy, or go to there's basically not any more local shops anymore to get your music out there and get some type of revenue or try to get it out there, besides, you know what I'm saying, going hand in hand and trying to pass out your music or sell it. And that's really not the hustle. The art of that hustle is pretty much diminished and stuff like that. So I think it hurts both sides of what I talked about for the indie and the mainstream artist. So that's what you kind of like, you know, a big sigh on that right there, Corey. Yeah.
Yeah. And what you say is very interesting. I think the fact that streaming is becoming so popular, I think a lot of people will bandwagon and jump on it. And I honestly think it will open up an avenue for a company to come in and make a platform for the independent artist. I don't think the independent artist will ever be unspoken for. I'm just waiting for somebody to figure it out. And there's probably someone right now, possibly even listening to this, saying, hey, man, we working on it. But I think it's on its way. There is something to be said about the streaming thing.
And you know what? And whatever that formula is for the indie artist, it's going to be so simple.
Yep.
And we're gonna sit there and we're like, man, I could have thought of that. I guarantee you that's what it's gonna be. It's just that I think if you're the mover and the shaker in this situation, it's just a matter of getting with the right folks and having the right dollar amount to push it, to be honest with you. Because, I mean, there's probably somebody smoking and getting high right now and probably got the $1 million idea, but they don't know nobody. They ain't got the money for it. And there's so many different ways you can push it in the artists out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many different ways. And I see it in different places. But, you know what I'm saying, it's just kind of like, you know, you're not in that position to kind of like push it. So it's going to be one of those things, like I said, you know, it's going to happen. And, you know, a lot of people are going to say, oh, man, I could have thought of that. Watch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. D-Dot, man. What are your thoughts on it, especially this whole piracy thing? I think streaming will affect piracy. I'm not sure how. I got my thoughts. How do you think they'll affect each other, man? Well, I'll go ahead and say straight off, I think that as far as piracy goes, everybody can be really can pirate anything. In multiple different ways. I mean, you've seen people snatch YouTube videos. It's not hard to get the audio from something. So I think in my opinion, I think piracy will become. I don't know if it'll necessarily change it. It might lower it just based on the fact that there is not an actual medium to copy. But it just means it'll take longer. In order to stream an album, you'd have to stream it and record it live. So it would literally take you the length of the album to record it, chop it up, do all that stuff. And someone who's pirating, who's not profiting off of it, I don't know how much they would want to do that. So, and that's not a skill that's easy to come by. So I feel like streaming might kind of change the world of piracy. But D-Dot, man, what are your thoughts?
I'm in agreement with everything you guys said. I do think major artists will suffer more for this, but at the same time, I mean, it's going to really increase their streaming because a lot of people that, of course, no longer would have access to their music for downloading will be forced to go into streaming. But then on the flip side of that, from a fan standpoint, there are still some people that actually like to download to their devices, and I get it. If they don't want to do things like using data, for example, I totally get it. They want to have all their content on their devices. Bandcamp, however, they do need to get with the time. And there's a pro and a con to Bandcamp. They are good in regards to paying you more out of pocket compared to a lot of the other digital music stores. But at the same time, people can go on your site, stream your music all day, all night, 24/7, and you not get a dime for any of those streams. So, I mean, from a artist, even an independent artist standpoint, your work is your livelihood. You got to try to make as much money as possible. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I have noticed a trend of a lot of independent artists kind of moving away from the whole mixtape platform and the whole free EP or project platform. I see more and more people actually start to put their music onto to iTunes, Spotify, really any other digital providers out there. And I think that some people are kind of taking a step forward and getting ready for what's about to happen because, as you said, the whole industry is going to start shifting at some point. I mean, we got on your iPhone, I mean, you can play games, watch movies, listen to music. I mean, you can do it all right there. So, I mean, that's where everything is headed.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you brought up the mixtapes, too. That's kind of leading into another point I wanted to make, which was I think this whole thing stemmed from mixtapes. We think about it, early 2000s. I didn't start getting into mixtapes until maybe like early high school, late middle school for me. So 04, like early 2000s. I'm sure mixtapes were out before then, but mixtapes came out and mixtapes killed the albums. Mixtapes started making people less likely to buy albums. In my opinion, I watch my friends go, oh, I'm not buying the album. The album was trash. That's what the label is forcing them to put out. We want the realness. We want the mixtapes. And so people were waiting for the free stuff to come out because the free stuff was better. And I think that whole mentality of let me put more effort into my mixtape and then just kind of toss out an album kind of killed the albums because, at least for me, and again, I'm speaking from my perspective, I feel like I started to notice the quality in albums going down. And so I was hesitant to buy things because I couldn't have an expectation level for people's albums. Prime example, Kanye West albums, if you look at his catalog, I feel like his catalog gets less and less predictable. And if you're going to spend money on albums, if album prices are going up over the years and my expectations for you are getting less and less clear, I feel like I'm going to be less and less likely to buy an album from you because I don't know what's going to be on this album. And so people, I feel like, started pirating, kind of what Big Rich was saying, to kind of see what the albums were about and then decide if they want to download. And if they didn't want to download it, they might still play a couple records off of it, but they wouldn't give you their money. Maybe they might go see you live, but they're not giving you your money. And so this whole concept of I can pay $10 and kind of just listen to a little bit of everything, it kind of works because, again, I don't really have a lot of faith in the artists nowadays just putting out whatever. They'll, rap willy-nilly in their closet over a beat and put it on iTunes because it's so easy to do and call it a single. So for me, I was let down, I feel like, after the whole mixtape era. And now it's starting to try to backpedal a little bit where albums are becoming more prevalent and more thought-provoked. And so people are putting a lot more effort into those albums, and mixtapes have completely gone away. Now people are saying, okay, no more free stuff. And so I feel like personally it's just it's in that space where things are just moving. So until the dust settles, I don't really know what's going to go,
Hey, can I add something to what you were saying? Everything that we kind of like live in now is a trend basis. Everybody want to follow what everybody else is doing. Been noticing, like, I'm just gonna throw her name out there, and y'all probably know what I'm talking about. Beyonce dropping all these surprise albums, and other artists kind of like starting to do the same thing too. And when they drop these surprise albums, they sell. Or whatnot, and I've been seeing a lot of artists that are doing this major promotion for the album. You probably will hear about it 2 weeks before it dropped or a week before it dropped, and it's like you can't keep up with it. But they didn't say, they ain't put a mixtape out for us to prepare you. You know what I'm saying? They didn't, promote it for about 3 to 6 months for it or whatnot. They just dropping it. You know what I'm saying? And they may give you a little heads up 2 weeks in advance, and they might hear from it at a concert or a blog spot, leaked information or whatnot. But, within those 2 weeks, it's kind of like, well, shoot, man, let's drop, and then people going out there and having to buy it. And then, and like you said, I hadn't seen the major push in mixtapes in a while. So, it's kind of like everybody's dropping at a short notice, and it's making people to go buy the album and stuff like that. Do you think that's kind of like, you see a trend going on with that, and kind of like you're starting to see the curve in album sales with surprise drops or short notice drops of album projects?
What do you think, D-Dot? We've been doing a lot of talking. I want to get you in this. What do you think, D-Dot?
Yeah, now the surprise album thing, it of course not going to work for everybody. If you're your local artist type person, I think that ahead of time you need to promote your record. I think that artists should definitely learn promotion, and I think that's why a lot of artists never really, even producers for that matter, they never really advance because they don't have even a basic understanding of how to promote an album. Now, major artists, you have all the following. You got Beyonce, for example, Drake. Well, Drake was the first person to do it, I believe. And when he did it, I think it was around midnight, and nobody knew. But then he sent out one tweet, and boom, it just went viral within a matter of minutes. And I think under circumstances like that, where you don't really have to promote because no matter what you do, you just send out a link, you're gonna get a return on your investment right then and there. Which I don't think in their case, again, they don't really have to worry about the promotional aspect of it. But you still have a lot. I would say this. I think a lot of more of the, I won't call them underground artists, but I'll say you have really mainstream artists, for example, like a Drake, like a Future, like a Beyonce, for example, and then you may have non-mainstream artists, maybe like Currency, Wiz. Wiz, I'll say, is a kind of a tween. It kind of goes in between. But people, artists, for example, like that, where I still see that they're actually promoting their projects ahead of time. A lot of them, actually, Currency himself released a mixtape or EP every month this year thus far, in addition to the albums he kind of closed out last year with. So a lot of those artists, however, and even the major artists, are kind of making that money back through merchandise, doing shows, making appearances, things like that. So I think that as far as the mainstream artists, I do notice, and even to a degree, even independent artists, because I'll take Boom for example. I haven't seen him release a mixtape in quite some time. Everything, at least within the past, maybe 2 to 3 years, has been iTunes only projects. So I think that he's kind of realized that he can get more money for his streaming online with the fan base that he's garnered over the years, opposed to, giving away a free project on that PIF or Bandcamp for that matter. So, it just kind of really depends on what kind of following you have.
Couldn't have said it better myself, man. Yeah. I think that surprise album thing is definitely trending, but in my opinion, I don't know if that's for everybody, which I think D-Dot touched on. Not for everybody, but if you got that cult style following, I think it works. But I think it all plays back into that instant gratification thing that's going on, and I think that's why the streaming is a thing now. Internet is everywhere. You want your music to be everywhere. Who wants to wait until you get to the car to throw in a CD when you can just stream it from your phone? It's just that instant gratification. So that's just my thoughts. Unless you fellas got any last points, that's all I got, man.
All right. We're about to go to our next commercial break. We'll be back with the Producer's Corner. And we are back with the Producer's Corner, ready to get into our next segment of the night. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the panels. Recently, I went to the iStandard Beatcamp, which was held here in Dallas at the Media Tech Institute, same place as it was last year. Rich also attended last year with us. They had pretty much a lot of, well-known producers, also songwriters. For example, Tony Williams, most notably known for doing some vocal work on Kanye College Dropout. He was actually discussing how marketing and sending beats to potential labels and suitors, how to go about it properly. Talked about, for one of the examples he gave, for example, is talked about how he has been approached by producers and artists sometimes, for producers wanting to work with him and sending beats to them without. He told a story about a producer sending beats to him saying, "Oh, this would be good for a project that you're working on." Yet he never took the time to strike the convo to find out about the concept or the idea about maybe what type of sound that he was trying to achieve for his project. So he kind of talked about developing relationships too with, whether you're sending beats to a label, a music manager, maybe at a publishing company, however that is. Then at the same time, he talked a little bit about artists as well. And I found the line that I'm about to say probably one of the best things I heard anybody say the whole weekend. He was talking about when artists ask you to listen to a track, they really want you to say that you like it, and some of them can't really handle constructive feedback that they're going to receive, and how a lot of people within the industry, whether you're artist or producer, may never advance because you got all your bars in your ears telling you, "Oh, this is a good beat. Oh, this is a good song," and they're kind of they're kind of getting you on this pedestal. And then when you go to get you go to perform or you go to try to get heard, you're not getting what you expect to get. And he talked about seeking feedback from people outside of your circle. And one of the things that he talked about, which I found very interesting, was, he worked on the Kanye album, College Dropout. I think he actually sing background vocals for It All Falls Down, a couple other songs as well. I think he was on Graduation as well. But anyhow, he said basically they'll rent out a studio for about 10 to 12 hours a day, and they won't record a track in there. However, he said they will listen to the song all day for those 10 to 12 hours. But not alone. What they do is they send emails and marketing to people in those specific communities and have just random people come out to their studio and listen to the tracks for maybe 30 minutes to an hour throughout the day. They just switch out random people. And what they also do in addition to that is they notice their mannerisms. They notice they're tapping their feet, they're bobbing their head. They notice they're feeling the music or not. That's how they gauge whether or not a record is right for an album or not. He said he's done that. They've done it for pretty much a lot of the Kanye albums, for some of his albums as well. And one of the things that they also get out of it is if there's an issue with the record, they try to seek some feedback on what they can do differently in order to make the record better. And that, to me, now granted, everybody won't have that kind of money to rent a studio, and some of you have home studios, so I understand you're not going to let just anybody in your house. But, maybe try to develop some relationships with people, in your own community that you can maybe exchange music with. And you might want to review their music, have them review your music. That was something I found pretty interesting. Also, Rich, I know last year, like for example, you remember when we went to Josie Records and Cardo was talking to Jay Hatch of iStandard. This year, right. It was actually S1 doing the panel this year, and man, he told a really good story about kind of how he got started. Most people know S1 from the Strange Fruit Project. Back in like the early 2000s, he produced a lot of that record. Anyhow, he told us the story of there was one day, he sacrificed a lot of money just going from city to city trying to get deals with other artists. And at one time, he said it was around, I would say around 05, 06, because it was actually one of the first major records he produced on was, he did some work with Little Brother, if most of y'all familiar with Little Brother, but he also told a story about he and his wife, shout out to Teresa, by the way, but he and his wife were actually out here in Dallas. They were eating at a restaurant one night, and he gets a phone call from Kanye West's manager saying, hey, you need to get on this flight in 3 hours. We're going to fly you out to our studio. We're going to work. And that's when they got in the lab to actually produce Power for my Dark Little Twisted Fantasy. And from that point on, he's like, Kanye played actually a couple of tracks that he had from other producers. And it all started with him getting more inquiries from, he heard this one song, another song, I can't remember exactly which one it was. It wasn't Power. But he said he changed the drums on that song, and Kanye really liked it, and he did a similar deal for Beyonce, and boom, that's when doors just kind of started opening. He went from there to the producer for Madonna, to producer for Patti LaBelle. He actually did some work on the last Rick Ross album as well, produced Money Dance off of that album, and just a real humble brother, man. Really good story that he told at night. Other things we did, his wife actually, who's also his manager, Teresa, she talked about how artists and producers kind of reach out to her. And Satori Nada, she's actually a publicist for War Media, which manages Pharoah Monch and a couple of producers like the Drake, who's actually out of Dallas. But they also talked about how to really approach somebody if you want them to manage you, and just how artists send unsolicited links, and people don't realize, but when you're coming up, what do you have to manage? And they talked a lot about some artists that's just making music in their closet, doing open mics every night, looking for managers, and they don't even know, for example, where they want to go in their career. They don't know if they want to be rich. They don't know if they want to be famous. They don't know if they want to just tour. They don't have any idea of what they want to do with their career. So that's just kind of some of the things they talk about in terms of approaching and trying to develop a relationship with somebody that you want to manage you. And kind of like we were saying about Tony Williams, who talked about, getting your friends' opinions. They were talking about never let your friends manage you, because that's not necessarily the people. I mean, sometimes it does turn out really well, just depending on who you are. But most of the time, if your friend is managing you, they're not really going to tell you what they want you to hear. They're not going to give you they're not going to give you constructive criticism that can help build you up to something else. So that's a summary, kind of a brief summary of some of the things I saw at Beatcamp. I also want to shout out Jay Rhodes, who I hope to get on the show. He also did some work, for example, with Rick Ross, but he wrote a book recently, These Beats Ain't Free, which I purchased over there, as well as the T-shirt. And I'm going to start reading that because I hear some great things about him. I got a chance to chop it up with him over the weekend, and like I said, hope to get him on the show very soon. Rich, man, what's your thoughts, man? I'm going to go ahead and start with you first.
Yeah, I wasn't there again this year, but I was there last year, 2015, and I enjoyed myself last year. I wanted to go again this year, scheduled confliction or whatnot. But, yeah, I had a chance to sit in a beat one-on-one. I had did two of them. But I had a one-on-one critique with Jay Rose. Also, very, very down-to-earth and humble guy. I actually bought his audio book. I didn't buy the actual paper book, but I bought the audio book. I listened to it about 5 times just to make sure I grasped the knowledge of his point of view of, these beats ain't for free and stuff like that. And I learned a lot, in his audio book and whatnot. So shout out to Jay Rose. But, Beatcamp Dallas, man, it's one of those deals. If you're a producer, you need to go and learn some things. It's like DJ gave you a lot of information from Mr. Risa, She spoke last year, gave a plethora of information for us on the management side. It was her and it was 2 other ladies. I think it's one of the ladies from 104, the 104 station in Dallas. She spoke. And it was another lady on some type of publicist company or whatnot, and they spoke on pretty much the music business side and pretty much along the same lines of what Mr. Reese was talking about, as far as managing and artists and whatnot. And, just to speak on that part, if you're an artist and stuff like that, you really got to have a vision of where you want to go and stuff like that, even if you're a producer. Got to have a vision on what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going right now, I'll be honest with you, I'm going through this little spiritual thing. I've been going, trying to open my mind up where I want to go. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going through what they call a paradigm shift. Been kind of like doing some stuff with my pastor at my church or whatnot. But you go through a paradigm shift for you're good, but really, your talents are supposed to be somewhere else, but you think you're supposed to go down the left lane, but really when you're supposed to be on the right lane, making a right, going on the other street, and you thinking you're supposed to be going forward. Both ways are good, but which one is more successful? You know what I'm saying? It's just like when you plug in the directions, and you go into GPS, Google Maps can send you about 4 ways, but one of them might say 1 minute slower, 2 minutes fast, 6 minutes slower, but it's gonna get you to point B. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of artists can't ask you that question. Why? Because they wanna go to the open mic and then they wanna, hit the biggest thing, get into the strip club, and then, rule the strip club nation for the city. And that's your accomplishment. You ain't getting nothing out of it. You wasting your time. You know what I'm saying? You ask a real artist, somebody like I don't know, a J. Cole or somebody like that, or Boom. Ask somebody like Boom. Boom probably will tell you, man, I want to, you know what I'm saying, win a Grammy. You know what I'm saying? I want to win an ASCAP award. You know what I'm saying? I want to, you know what I'm saying, I want to go on a world tour and be known, opening up for someone for a world tour. That's the type of answers people be looking for. But you got a lot of these dudes and women out here, and they give you this local answers and whatnot. Like for me, yeah, I would love to have some of my instrumentals on commercials. I watch TV all day, every day. I watch Love and Hip Hop. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? I gotta watch my Dime, you know, Miss Dime, you know, that Dime piece. I gotta watch her. But you know what I'm saying? But I watch that stuff, but I hear the beats on there. I'm not too pleased of it. Some of it sound good, but I want to be that person. You know what I'm saying? I want to be the one that, you know, I give a little bit of credit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Cardo getting credit on the Drake album. He got a little credit. You know what I'm saying? Co-produced on one of the songs on that project. I want to be one of those people. You see what I'm saying? That's what Mr. Teresa was probably talking about this weekend. When people ask you that and you looking for a manager and you find someone legit, they're going to fill you out with those questions. You come with that local mentality, or you can't fill that question and make them look into you to make them work and make their money, because they, guess what? You're going to hire them. They got to get their cut too. Or they want their thing, or they want something out of the deal. If they can't get nothing out of their deal, guess what? You just lost. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what she was talking about. And for this one, man, that dude just phenomenal, man. Like, I didn't know he did Money Dance on Rick Ross. Like, that's my favorite track on that whole project right there, man. So I think it's the Black Collar. Yeah, man, that thing jam. But you know what I'm saying? S1, you know, he got turned down a lot. As he explained on last year, he got turned down a lot from different avenues. Even with he's an iStandard alum, even with iStandard alum, he got turned down. He didn't win the first beat that he did, or the first beat showcase he did. He got turned down a lot, but you know what I'm saying, persistent and consistency. And you know what I'm saying, and what he said, what he got on his T-shirt, what the T-shirt say, D-Dot?
Pray focus, plan, execute.
That's it right there. That's all you got to do as a producer. Those things right there on that T-shirt, man, that's why I missed out, you know what I'm saying, because I would have bought that T-shirt. That's it right there, as far as a producer and an artist is concerned. So, yeah, I mean, but other than that, though, I mean, the showcase, the beat camp is something if it comes around next year, or if it comes back to Dallas within the year, or hopefully it comes to Houston. I heard rumors it may go to New Orleans, Louisiana. Man, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to be there too. So, go ahead, D-Doc.
Actually, I had a conversation with Jay Hatch, and he didn't tell me exact date or nothing, but he's like, they're aiming to come back around the last part of the year, kind of like they did last year. So stay tuned for that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's just all he told me. Corey, what's your thoughts, man?
Man, a lot of information, man. A lot of knowledge y'all dropping. First of all, I think it's dope that they have events like that. If you can't get to it, unfortunately, I'm all the way in Michigan, so I can't get to those events in a cheap way. And, of course, they don't come out this way, especially not Western Michigan where I'm at. But if you can't get to those events, those are super, super dope. Go to them. I like the points about being very wary of the people who are so easy to hype you up. And one of the things that I do to prevent that is I will play a beat or a mix or whatever it may be that I'm creating. I'll play it for someone who's totally not interested in the genre and just open-minded to music in general. And you will get the best open, honest opinion. Someone who maybe doesn't really know what you do all the way. Sometimes it could be just a random person. My thing has always been, you might think it's funny, but to check with your girlfriend, your girlfriend at the time, who doesn't really know what you're doing when you're in there beating on them rubber pads and she doesn't really get it. Play something for her and see what she thinks, but that takes a level of honesty. You need somebody who's really, really honest and hard on you. I like playing. I got a buddy, shout out to Ryan May. He always tells me about my beats, like which ones are good, which ones are bad, and he's critical, but he's a heavy metal guy. So I think that's important. I also like the point about the managers. I think that's important too. Before you get managed, like D-Dot was saying, like have something to be managed for, and be very careful of who you have manage you. It's better, in my opinion, to have someone who's young and hungry to manage you, and doesn't have a lot of clients, rather than somebody who's got a ton of clients and doesn't have a ton of time for you. So just do your research. Do your research. I think that's dope that you guys went to that event, man. I wish I could go, man, or y'all could stream that live. We need to stream that live, man. I think it'd be dope. But that's pretty much all I got on it. I wish I could have went to the event, met some of these guys, but you know, it's all good. I got nothing but love for the production world, man.
Definitely, man. And if it's anybody listening, you can actually go on my YouTube channel for Major Music ENT, and I have the review, and it's kind of a summary. There's kind of clips of some of the content. Like I caught some of the Cardo content. I caught some of the beat. They did a celebrity beat set at the end of the night. They did the same thing actually this year. But I did 2 videos for the previous iStandard Beatcamp, which are on the Major Music ENT YouTube site, and then I'm gonna start editing the one which I took a lot of video this year. I'm gonna kind of do it a little differently, but stay tuned for that. I'll let all you guys know when I have the first one and the second one done. Yeah, we're about to go to our next commercial break. We'll be back with the Producer's Corner. And we are back with the Producer's Corner, ready to wrap up the show for the evening. I want to quickly shout out, the whole iStandard crew, Jay Hatch, Sis, Mike Miser, Craig Miser. Mike, actually, I don't know if he's listening. He told me he might listen, but, big shout out and really good seeing you guys this past weekend. Look forward to catching up with iStandard again later this year, or, hopefully sometime next. Want to also shout out everybody that I reached out with this weekend. In fact, Benny Vegas, Willie T for a track, Jay Rhodes again. Shout out to Boom as well. And appreciate everybody that listened. You can follow me on Twitter at DEEDOT81 or D.MajorMusic on Instagram, as well as Facebook. And if you're looking for beats, go to the website MajorMusicENT.com. There we have production for you to purchase and listen directly. Sent to your email. For exclusives, contact at 972-591-1049. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Rich.
Yeah, you guys, first off, shout out to iStandard, man, putting the platform out there for, producers out there and giving them a platform to showcase their talents and also feed us knowledge, to the, from the industry, so we can learn and everything like that. So just shout out to the whole iStandard team, man. Salute to y'all. You guys follow me on Instagram at Super Mario, SuperMario, Super Mario _producer, and check me out on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/JCS Productions. Out there, it's a place with a beat. On to you, Cora.
Yo, want to thank everybody for tuning in, taking notes. Huge shout out to my co-host this week. They really was putting in work at the iStandard and really networking and stuff. So shout out to them, and shout out to them for the lovely conversation we had tonight. Again, I hope y'all was taking notes. Really, really good stuff we talked about. If you guys are looking for beats, mixing, mastering, audio restoration, audio editing, hit me up, coolnerdproductions.com. That's cool with a K. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, KOOL_NERD. Forewarning, I am redoing the website right now, so you might notice that my current website is a little bare, but I'm getting some new logos and things made, so things are going to be moving very soon here, so stay tuned. Kick it back to you, D-Dot.
All right. Join us same time, same place next week on IcebreakerRadio.com. Got some things in the works. Holla at your boy. We're going to be bringing it to y'all. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. We out.